Good afternoon, Franklin Township. This is PJ Parker from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, and here at Middlebush Reformed Church. That is the church with the red door that you all know exactly where it is, and you can frequently hear beautiful music coming out of their steeple bells on a regular basis. And they had the most beautiful living nativity every year. Just to give you a little bit of history about this particular church, as it is celebrating a very special historical moment itself. Their 191 anniversary, 191 years. Now, I'm pretty sure that Pastor George has not been here for 191 years, and also Lisa Stanley, who was part of this endeavor. But it's a milestone that this church has been here and this congregation has evolved over 191 years. And they are embarking on a program now that will go from now until year 200. And they have done some very special things in this particular memorial room to commemorate this journey. So, Pastor George, tell us the rest.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you and welcome Franklin Township into the memorial room of Middlebush Reformed Church. We're so glad that you are here, that you are able to be here with us and just to hear some of our story. March 19, 1834 is the date of our church's founding. So this past Wednesday was our 191st anniversary, which we as a congregation celebrated this morning in our worship service with a reading of our history and some other special events that just commemorated the date. We're so grateful to receive some friendly greetings and words of congratulations from many people, including from Mayor Kramer. Thank you, Mayor Kramer, for that. We really appreciate that. We also received a very special gift from a former member, which we'll tell you about at the very end of our time together, okay? So as we are launching into our 191st anniversary celebration, we are doing this with a mindset of incrementally adding something every year of our anniversary until we get to kind of a blowout party on our 200th anniversary in the year 2034. Yeah, I'm thinking about how old I'll be then, but the church will be 200 and I won't be approaching that. So we're really grateful to be able to share just a little bit about this. And we are in this room because of a particular project that our Living Memorial Fund Committee undertook, which coincided with the date of our anniversary. And so I'm really grateful to introduce Lisa Stanley, who's the chair of the fund and who can tell you a little bit more about that project and take us on a little bit of a walking tour through what that project and what it tells us about our history is all about. So I give you Lisa.
Okay, so let's flip.
You bet.
Okay, Lisa, tell us the rest.
So what happened was we had many previous pastor pictures from over the years, and we wanted to restore them and display them. So this has been an ongoing project. It's been at least 2 years, or not a little bit longer, where we found the pictures. We found someone who could restore them for us and hang them up for us, and we were preparing this room knowing that we were going to do this, and it just happened to coincide with the 191st anniversary. Meant to be, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So where would you like to start?
Well, let's start right behind me.
Okay.
This is what we did was we arranged the room pictures in centuries, pretty much. So this would be our very first pastor, Jacob Schultz.
Is
And
there a date
there
as
are
to
dates
his
on here.
service?
So his date of service, 1834 to 1838. 1834 to 1838. And what we did was we left the original frames that came with the pictures. We had them professionally restored. The pictures are no longer flush against the glass. There's a little spacer. We had them professionally hung. This is UV protected light, so if sun comes in, it will not damage them. They're going to stay here forever. So this is where we is the starting point. This starts our history in Middlebush.
Okay. And who's next in line?
Who's next in line? Well, we have our Pastor Van Duren. I believe they're in the right order, and if I'm not mistaken. So he would be our second pastor from 1838 to 1865. And then down to Mershon, George Swain, and James Lefebvre. I think I said that right. Lefebvre. It sounds French.
A little French.
Other things that we did here was we did move furniture around. We had not removed anything from this room. We just moved it around so it became more suitable. This credenza was not here originally. And what I'd like to point out too, in a credenza, are these plates. These are commemorative plates for our church. They were on display straight behind you, PJ, was a shelf, which was there since I think I was born. And these plates were displayed on there with other things, but we decided to make other use of that wall. And the plates were in storage, and we brought them out now to be displayed again and left here on display.
It's a perfect depiction. Everything is well balanced, and you have objects to look at on every level, from ceiling to floor. It's beautifully done.
It is. Thank you so much. And they all mean something to our church, including Pastor George. What were these? These are the.
Yeah, so those are the promotional pamphlets from our church from about the 1950s. Yeah. So
a little bit about
information for new members or prospective members or people just wanting to learn about our church and our history. Speaking of our history, I should say to you that we're going to highlight 3 pastors in particular, and one of those is Pastor John Van Doren. We in the township, there are 3 streets that have been named after Middlebush Reformed Church pastors. Van Doren is one of them. In the village of Middlebush, just kind of behind me, about a block or 2 down. But Van Doren Ave is named after one of our pastors.
This church has just such a rich history here. You don't realize it until we start talking about it.
I'm told that we are the 4th oldest house of worship in the township. And it's really amazing that we have that privilege. Of course, this is not our oldest building. Our original building was a wooden clapboard building that burned in a fire caused by a lightning strike on July 2, 1917. And people ran into the burning church to rescue some of the things that we still use in our worship services today, including, we think, an item that Lisa will show you in just a little bit. Our membership book from 1834 was also rescued. So we have really beautiful calligraphy in this book, and new members now get to add their own name to that book as a signal of the way that they join the line of heritage of faith here at Middlebush Reformed Church. So that's a little bit more about us, but Lisa can tell you a little bit more about the next round of pastor portraits.
Shall we? Yes. Okay. Shall we? Shall. Okay. So let's see. It's just everything is just so warm and open, and yet it has that feel of antiquity and commemoration to it. It's like a museum. It's really really nice. It's nice. It just gives you that feeling of continuity.
Yes.
Really amazing.
And our pastors here start where we ended over there, 1902, with Pastor Thompson.
He hadn't last long on, 18 years.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
Well, in fact, can I jump in to just tell you a little bit about this? So John Thompson was the pastor who was here when the lightning struck the old building. John Thompson was probably, as we understand the history, he was just a few months away from retirement when the church burned down. And he decided that he could not leave his flock without a shepherd in this time of crisis and transition. So he extended his tenure into another year and a half until the new building was built. We are told he became the architect for the new stone structure that now graces the corner of South Middlebush and Amwell Roads with our red doors, signature red doors on our bell carillon, our bell tower. But John Thompson was here, and until recently, John Thompson is another one of the pastors that had a road named after him. The park that we have at the intersection of Amwell and South Middlebush Roads, that's owned by the church, the far west eastern side of that used to be known as Thompson Parkway in his memory. When the roadway changes took place about 18 years or so ago, and the road directly in front of the church was closed, then that became South Middlebush Road, and we lost Thompson Parkway. But the park retains his name because the park, Thompson Park, Thompson without a P, was the park is named after Reverend John Thompson as well. So a little bit more of history there.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is just rife with history. And all you history buffs out there, Franklin, this is a good place for you. Do you invite the public, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone is welcome to our 10 a.m. worship services. We have other events that take place, concerts, and you can watch our Facebook page. Occasionally, we're probably better on our Facebook page than our website. Franklin, we'll work harder at that, we promise. But yeah, call us, come by. Church is open in the mornings. Come by and see. Yeah, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Yeah.
And if someone in the community has something that might be relative to your history, I imagine that would also be welcome. One never knows.
We have received incredible gifts of our history, some of which inform the way that we celebrated our 175th anniversary 16 years ago, and some of which we've been collecting to be able to use in our celebration of our 200th, or to again incrementally reveal, unveil as we approach the 200th anniversary. So lots of surprises. Today was a day full of surprises, wasn't it? So yeah.
Do you want to share any of those?
Well, Lisa will do that in a minute, and then we'll do one more at the end. This wall of pictures covers from 1900 to 1950, about
It's a little bit past 50.
maybe 1960.
And the reason why we did this was for the cohesiveness of the pictures, because the last picture is Reverend Bridgman over here on the very end, and his frame matches the other frame, so it's a little bit more cohesive. But he was actually a pastor, I believe, until 1972, if I'm not mistaken.
73 is what it says.
Oh, 73. Okay, I was off a year. But like, yeah, like that much. Was there another?
Well, just the only other one I would say is that the picture immediately in front of Lisa, Reverend Marinus Denherder.
Yes.
Bill's favorite guy.
Oh, yeah. So Reverend Denherder was here for just a very short time. He was only here for maybe just a little over a year. And sadly, he took ill as I understand the story, he took ill on a Sunday morning and collapsed in the middle of the service, was hospitalized, and then later succumbed to whatever illness had made him collapse. So he's named, this is the third pastor that has a street named after him. Denherder Road is directly across from the church, and Denherder Road is named in memory of Reverend Marinus Denherder.
He looks familiar, oddly enough. I can't tell you why. He does. He just has a familiar look to me. I have a cousin, I think. That's where that's coming from. Anyway, any other commentary about these gentlemen?
I don't think necessarily.
Okay. All right. So next we are going.
We'll continue our century trek across the room. Over here, as I said, Reverend Bridgman would have
Are you going to read from there?
No, we're
Not
gonna
yet.
go
Then-
over it.
we're coming back to
been.
this. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you lead the way.
So we're going to come over to this side from the 70s, well, actually from the 60s, I'm sorry. Actually the 50s. So this is, what does it say? Dithmers. Okay. And then up into the 70s to the 80s, and then the 80s to the late 90s. Holbrook, yeah. Pastor Holbrook was here for quite some time, too.
The tenures change. Each minister does not have a fixed period of time.
Yeah, no.
That works.
However that was working out. Yeah, we plan to have Pastor George forever, though, so.
Okay. Well, yes, the rest of us are as well. Okay, now where are we
So
going?
let's go to the last
Oops.
set of pictures on this wall here. So these are our most current century, from 1999, and then of course to the present day with Pastor George leading our flock.
So
And this is
Pastor
Ross
Reddick,
Reddick.
okay.
Yes.
that was before our time here in this capacity. We did not know him.
Okay.
We only knew Pastor George.
Okay.
That's a nice picture.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't recognize that young guy.
He looks familiar.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
Okay.
So
And now we have a.
It might be appropriate too. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but the name of the firm that helped us with these pictures, Evan in his photography studio, just really phenomenal in his work with us. So we wanted to give them a shout out. They're just really great. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, everything looks just so coordinated and so historic. Even though the frames are not identical, they work.
It did.
They all work
very
thematically. They enhance each other. It's really lovely. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. So Lisa has a couple treats over here to show you.
Okay.
Okay, so in here, I'm going to start with what we use today in our service. So these silver plates, our offertory plates, were hidden away, tucked away in a closet somewhere. Pastor George found them, and they were terribly tarnished. They looked terrible. But we talked about it and said, wouldn't it be nice if we can use this for their anniversary? Not thinking, I don't think the 191st, but our 200th. And then as things worked out, we were able to use these today, polished them up, we're able to use them. And it was just like, it's just such a rich history that this church has. And it's so wonderful to incorporate these types of things. And in this case too, this is depicts how the fundraisers for quilts were down here. You can see the quilts that they made, and they, if I understand correctly, they etched out in pencil or something the names, and actually hand sewed their names in. So these were fundraisers they used. This is a old well, originally when I was very, very small, used for our communion, yes, and the dinner plate. So these are just historical reminders of what the church had used previously. I think that's pretty much everything in the case that we have.
These quilts are amazing too.
Quilts are absolutely gorgeous, and what ultimately what we'd like to do is display them, hang them, so that they're not hiding in a closet or in a cabinet like this. And we have it.
A half a quilt.
This wall is already earmarked for something else, as is this wall. So we have very limited space, but we do have bigger plans for this room as time goes by.
And as the history unfolds,
Yes.
that you'll be changing the walls to accommodate that year or that particular festival that you're happening with.
More to it.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
All right, so now
And
we are
then
going,
lastly-
wait, Pastor George has something to chat about. One more?
Display.
Okay, we're going back then to the Bible?
Yes.
Okay.
So what we have here in this case, what I'm going to say is this is our memorial board. There used to be a book that we inscribed in calligraphy every name of every person who had passed was memorialized. I shouldn't say everyone who passed, because not everyone got their names on a plaque or in a book. What happened was, it's kind of a funny story, the book, we couldn't find a replacement book. So we decided it's redundant. We don't need to have the plaques and handwritten names, and the names go into another book yet, still. So we ended up taking a Bible, which I believe came from the church that burned in 1917. And it was saved, and it was saved. It was stored away again, so we were able to finally display it. And Pastor George, if you don't mind continuing that little story.
Sure.
Well, there's actually some etching on the back that almost could look burned.
It could well be. I mean, the people very bravely faced both storm and flame because of a raging thunderstorm around here. If you're in Franklin Township, you know that first week of July, we get those thunderstorms, and that's what kicked up this lightning strike and the fire. People ran into that burning building to rescue these things. So we discovered in our history, in our 50th anniversary booklet, we found a little snippet that described the first worship service in the first church with the first sermon by the first pastor. And the theme verse was recorded for us in that history. And so we've opened this Bible up to that verse. So this Bible had once been used as MRC's pulpit Bible. It is open to Psalm 132, verse 14, which was the theme verse for the first sermon by the first pastor, Reverend Jacob Schultz, at the first worship service in the first church building for MRC. The service was held on February 19, 1835, just 11 months after our founding on March 19 in 1834. And the verse reads, "This is my rest forever, here will I dwell, for I have desired it." We were also surprised.
Do you want to read the
No, that's what I
rest of
just
it?
did. Yeah, no, I
Okay,
just-
never mind.
And we were also surprised to receive in the mail this original composition by a former member of our church who saw an announcement about our anniversary coming up on Facebook. And so she composed this piece of music. Dorothy Hine Easton, thank you, Dorothy, for composing this selection based on Ecclesiastes chapter 3. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. She's dedicated it to our church with gratitude for the way in which our church's ministry made an impact on her and her growing up here. She has served as a church organist and now a composer. We're so grateful for this gift. And our choir will be debuting it before the end of our current church year. So stay tuned. Watch our Facebook page. We'll let you know when, and hopefully you can come and see it with us. So
You're just so immersed in the community on so many levels. It's not just Sunday morning worship. You really have an immersion history here as one of the oldest churches in Franklin Township. And that says so much that not only did you start then, you're still here.
Yeah. And it's been humbling for us who have been in the inner circle of planning for this week, this celebration, but also as we begin to put our thinking together and our plans for our 200th, to think about what does that mean that we have had kind of a legacy and a spot of witness on a very prominent intersection in our township. What does it mean for us? What does it require of us? What does it ask of us? And how can we continue to be light for our community around us? Sometimes we're light through the sounds of our music and our carillon. And then just the other ways in which people are welcome here. Please come see us. Please come be with us. Community events, the things we do in our park, the flea markets it's coming up, the Living Nativity, Easter sunrise service at 7 o'clock in the morning, which will be on Easter Sunday, April 20. Please come be a part of that. April 27 will be a creation celebration service. So kind of like our Christian response to Earth Day and environmental care and what does it mean to be people of faith and caring for all of creation? We do a lot here. So don't keep us a secret. Come be a part of the story.
You hardly keep things a secret. And I don't mean that in any sort of way other than positive and uplifting. And we truly, truly appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to ask of the community if there are any artifacts that someone may have unearthed between then and now and somehow would like to share them for this celebration? Would you accept something like that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, thank you very much. We regularly get in the mail things that are sent to us, usually pictures or little pages, maybe an old worship bulletin. But if you have anything, if you have some family heritage connected with our church, or just if you're a part of township history and you have things that are kind of taking up space in your closet, you're looking for a space to get rid of it, feel free to give it to us if it's related to our history. We will use it. We will use it. We will cherish it. We will protect it. We will safeguard it. And we will make sure that part of the heritage is preserved and shared in a way that gives dignity to those whose lives and whose witness and whose heritage it celebrates and commemorates. We take this very, very seriously. There is no one in the township who takes the history of this church more seriously than the members of this church. And so we will safeguard that with treasure, with delight in our hearts to be able to do it. So yeah, sure. Anything that you'd like to give. And if you'd like to come and have a tour of this room, come on by. If the doors are open, I'm probably here and be happy to sit down with you, tell you some story, listen to your story, and see if maybe our stories get to intersect somehow. That would be wonderful.
Would you like people to contact you prior to visiting just to ascertain time?
They're welcome to do that. Our email address is through the church office, mrcoffice@middlebushreformedchurch.com. You can send something that way. You can call us at 732-873-2776. Or, the best thing, come at noon, come at 3, come at 6 o'clock. Noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Sit in the parking lot and just listen to the music of our bells. I'll probably be walking by. I'll see you in your car. I'll come by and say hello. And then invite you in for a bottle of water and a tour through our history.
Again, this is what worship needs to be. It's homegrown, it's home felt, and it's certainly history throughout the decades and the centuries right here in Middlebush Reformed Church. So we thank you once again, Lisa Stanley, and of course, our pastor, George Montanari. Thank you so much for everything that you do for this community, for your presence, for your word, for your kindness. And people know this.
Well, thank you.
So
Thank you.
here it is. And you can see that this largesse dates back a very long time. So we look forward to continuing to celebrate with you right now up through year 200. But there will be many more things that are happening here. So stay tuned, Franklin, to the Middlebush Reformed Church and what's happening at the Red Door. This is PJ Parker, Franklin Reporter and Advocate. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back.